Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian. Please raise and bow your spirit as we sing Solidarity Forever. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, build the cities where the trade, dog the mines and build the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving beneath the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Rochester on this Sunday after May Day as we begin our theme of solidarity for the next 2 months in our blooming season. Many thanks to Stevie and the Sanctuary Decor team for putting together our beautiful altar for this season. I am Reverend AJ. I use he and him pronouns, and I'm one of the ministers that serves this congregation, where our mission is that through spiritual connection in community, we listen deeply to others and ourselves, we open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. I happen to be leading the service, preaching the sermon this morning, but I could not do it alone. I'm also excited to welcome to the pulpit Jan Cook, who's a longtime leader of meditations and leader in our First Unitarian Buddhist Fellowship group, which is a group where folks who practice Buddhism in many different lineages and types, or even those who are just grateful to have a space to be together in silence, in community. So she leads a lot with that, and she'll be offering the pastoral meditation this morning. We've also got Grant as our worship associate, Pablo and the wonderful First Unitarian Choir, the AV team keeping us all connected, and all of you, each one of you coming together to build this union, this community of solidarity together. You make Sunday morning possible by your very presence. If you are here for the first time or one of your first few times, please stop by the welcome desk so we can get to know you better. And if you weren't here earlier at 10:30, know that we have a special time between our two worship services called Connection, and you're invited to attend the Inquirer series, which we have every week for newcomers to learn about our faith and our church. And if you are here because you are going through a hard time, or you are worried about somebody else who is, please reach out to our lay pastoral care team. We have Mary is there in the back wearing a beige and rainbow stole. You can connect with her during the service if you need to, if something comes up for you, or afterwards, or throughout the week at any time. You can email or call the pastoral care line. There's information in our newsletter to get you connected. A few quick announcements. One is that we have a fundraiser coming up, a small one, but an important one, from the two Annie's salon that they are offering. So this is Annie McQuilkin and Anne Perry are offering 20 spots. They at their house for some food and a salon hosted by Reverend Sherry, talking about our theme of solidarity. Now, in many years, this is offered as an auction event, and so one that you have to attend the auction and bid on to get. But in this case, there's no one can outbid you, but there is limited space. So there's room for 20. I think about 5 people are signed up so far. So there's a sliding scale for the registration cost. So please consider attending and being part of this wonderful event. That'll be May 16th, I think, in the evening. We also want to let you know that on May 24th, on Memorial Day weekend, we will change over to our summer schedule. So we will have one service starting on May 24th at 10:30, followed by connection at 11:30. And we'll continue that through the summer until we gather again in homecoming. And June 7th is when we will have our spring meeting, congregational meeting, and one of the things we'll do there is elect our new leaders. So please see our newsletter and look for upcoming events to meet the candidates, to get to know some of the folks who are going to be elected as our newest leaders. I invite you now to center yourself for our worship together in whatever way is best for you. I like to make sure my feet are planted in the ground and take a breath. We acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door, and part of the Haudenosaunee people on whose ancestral and contemporary lands First Unitarian now stands. I'm going to invite Grant to light our chalice this morning, and invite you all to help with our unison words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
I invite you to rise and bow your spirit one more time as we sing What Wondrous Love.
Love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain, oh my soul, of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's crowd, with friends they gather round, oh my soul, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, to love of friends I will sing, to love and to of friends I will sing, to love and to of friends who prayed in sorrow and with thanks unto the end. I will sing, with thanks unto the end. I will sing.
My name's Grant Koss. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm thinking of our opening words that we just heard a little while ago, and it makes me think of a community I had the opportunity to work with just last fall. I worked with a community of incarcerated men at a maximum security prison about an hour away from here. What I did was I taught a speech class to these individuals, and it was about 15, 16 persons, aged from 25 to almost all the way up to 80. And it was really a unique group to be around and to be able to work with. And as I just mentioned, I really felt as kind of the months went on, it was about 3 or 4 months, that I was amongst a community. And for me, community, really the three elements there would be having agency and solidarity and significance. A free will, a choice of doing things, and solidarity, a sense of belonging, and significance, a sense that what one does with another group of people has worth and it has purpose, if you will. But in looking at this group of individuals, I think clearly within that mix, the sense that they had kind of a freedom to choose and do what they want was highly constrained because of the context of where they were. And it kind of made it more powerful, and it made it powerful for me in reflecting on it, because whereas they didn't have that one element, they certainly leaned into sense of belonging. They leaned into sense of purpose, even if it was just to take this very basic class to try to better themselves. And hopefully working with those others in the class to better those around them, if you will. It was a profound experience, and I think the key thing that made that happen was their ability to tell stories to one another, the sharing of their personal narratives, the experiences they had outside of prison and inside, to entertain each other, to inform each other. It worked towards sense of belonging and having a common purpose in a situation in which, again, their freedom of choice, agency, if you will, was highly limited. And I think that as we come together here, certainly on Sunday mornings, we certainly have, I think you could say, more agency than they, but we can lean into solidarity and significance, that sense of belonging, by hearing each other's stories, sharing them with others, and listening to them openly and freely. Thank you.
Now, if you're in the first two rows, I'd like you to stay there, but all other children are invited down for the time for all ages. Please can come down to the carpet. Welcome. So, I have a story to tell, but it's not my own story. It was originally told by someone a couple thousand years ago named Jesus. He told a lot of stories. He encouraged people to share more, to love more, and to forgive more. And as he was trying to encourage people, his followers, to live in this slightly different way, he sometimes needed to tell stories to help them really understand. And so we call these stories parables. So the parable I have today is the parable of the shepherd. Does anyone know what a shepherd is or does? Yes. Yes, someone who takes care of sheep. Now, back 2,000 years ago, in the place where Jesus lived, shepherds didn't have big fancy pens or fences or really established farms where they would take care of their sheep. They would have to get them up into the hills and the mountains where the grass was growing for them to graze. But up there were also predators and dangers, especially at night. So the shepherd had to help keep the animals fed and also keep them safe. So this shepherd that Jesus was talking about, she had not just 1 or 4 or 10 sheep, but she had 100 sheep. Can you imagine how noisy and smelly it would be in here if we had 100 sheep in our sanctuary. Well, every day she would have to take these 100 sheep up to the hills for them to feed and graze, and she would count them when she was up there to make sure she had all 100. And then when it started to get dark and the predators might start to come out, she brought them home to where it was safe, and she would count them again at night, all 100. But one night when she was counting them, she only counted 99. So what's 100 minus 99? 1. So there was one sheep missing. And even though it was at this point dark and dangerous, because those animals, those predators out there, they might hurt the shepherd as well. But still, she went out. She left the 99 in the safety of home, and she went out back into the hills to look for that one missing sheep. Now, Jesus told his followers of this for 2 reasons. One was because Jesus was talking. He used this as a story, as a way of talking about the great unfolding mystery of love that some, and Jesus certainly did, call God. And what he wanted to express about that was that that great unfolding love loves each person, each one out of the 100 or 1,000 or million, and that love will stay with each of you, each one of us, and find us even in the darkest or most difficult of times. But the other thing that Jesus was trying to teach is that each one of us is asked to be a shepherd. Each one of us is part of that great unfolding mystery. And so when we're in community, when we're living our lives, we are asked to embody love and to pay attention to who is maybe missing from a space, who doesn't have access, who is maybe hurt or sick or overwhelmed. And rather than staying in our own comfort and safety, to move in, to take risks, to embody solidarity, to be present with all of those, even those who are suffering or sick or overwhelmed. And so may this story unfold in your hearts until we are together again. And I invite everyone to help us sing our children to their classroom adventures.
We bless you on your journey through, from sheltering arms to the wide sky blue, and your joyful jumps and your sad times too. You bless us by being you.
Good morning. My name is Allison Hess. I use she, her pronouns. I grew up attending the Conejo Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Thousand Oaks, California. I have very vague early childhood memories of the congregation meeting in this cool rustic space with an amazing jungle gym that my sister fell off of and had to get stitches on her chin. But for most of my childhood, church happened at the local senior center. To be honest, it was kind of a bummer as a kid going to church at the senior center where we rented space for a few hours a week. When I moved to the Northeast to go to college, I learned that there were Unitarian Universalist churches that owned their own buildings and had done so for decades or even centuries. Congregations like First Unitarian Church of Rochester that hold activities in the building outside of Sunday mornings and don't have to pack up immediately after every worship service and shove all evidence of church into storage closets. I went on the tour this morning, during Connection, and this is an amazing building. Check out this building. This is our building. This space belongs to us, and we belong to it. It's not as young and efficient as it once was, but it's doing what it can to keep us comfortable through Rochester's intense seasons. Despite the creaks and cracks, it's holding strong and providing us room to worship, to wonder, to discuss, to dabble, to rally, and to rest. But now the building also needs us to show up for it. The current capital campaign is our chance to ensure that these walls can serve as a home for generations of Unitarian Universalists to come. I had a fabulous chat a few weeks ago with Susie and John Farrell over margaritas during happy hour at a bar just down Winton Road. That's right, happy hour. Let it be known, there is no requirement that these meetings happen around coffee. We had a wonderful conversation about the congregation and life in Rochester, and I appreciated that they didn't make me commit to a number while we were sitting around knocking back $3 well drinks. But later in the week, when I spoke with my non-UU husband about how much to contribute, the fuzzy feeling was still with me. I've become a part of this congregation, and I've benefited from all that prior generations have put into it. Importantly, that comes with a responsibility to do the same for the next generation. The global economic situation right now is unsettled, to say the least, but let's not let that stop us from doing this right, doing what we can as a community. Each of us can only contribute what we can, but pooled together, all those contributions can go a long way. Take a moment now to appreciate that we have a space to call our own. And when you get a chance to meet with representatives from the Capitol campaign, whether over tea or tequila, please consider making a gift that's extra meaningful to you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Jan Cook. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm here to offer a meditation. And just a couple things I want to say before is that this meditation is known in the tradition as metta, which is really a lot of different practices to cultivate love and compassion and wisdom in ourselves, even in tough times, in a way that we're so filled with that we can share it with others. This particular practice was really kind of formulated from a Dharma brother of mine in the tradition, the lineage of Thich Nhat Hanh. And I know most of you know who that is. In case you don't, he was nominated by Martin Luther King for the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, not Pulitzer, for his work in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. He and his monks walked, much like the monks walked from Texas to Washington, D.C. Recently in our country, but they walked through the battlefields in Vietnam and focused their attention and practice into every step, cultivating and nourishing the seeds of wisdom, compassion, sanity, love in a world that was not safe and violent and confused. So this offering is from that lineage. I'll use the pronoun I. In this particular meditative practice, we use I, we begin with I, but knowing as we continue that practice, that sense of I becomes larger and larger. So I also use the word world. And the word world really is about the larger beyond me that I influence, that is nourishing me, including the not the beyond human world. So we're going to do this together, and I just think what's happened so far today in this sense of building community. And the most important thing about this practice is you be as authentic as you can with yourself. This isn't about pretending something. It's really about going in and being authentic with yourself. So I'll begin with ringing the bell. And in ringing the bell, you can use the sound of the bell to go down inward, turn inward. Closed eyes, open eyes, downward gazing eyes, and really rest into the chair that's supporting you right now. arriving in this place called here, in this chair, in this body. Arriving in your breath, and particularly how your breath illuminates your feelings, your thoughts, whatever is happening for you right now. And beginning to turn inward into the sanctuary of who you are. Finding a place in relationship with your chair. This chair that has been stacked and put back and stacked again and put down and was put down for you this morning by caring hands, crafted by craftsmen who designed this piece of furniture in wood and fabric that's designed specifically to hold your weight, hold your concerns, hold your worries and your joys. Feel the expansive space of this sanctuary. Above you, behind you, to either side of you and in front of you. This expanding space. And if you can, actually bringing in the space beyond these walls, out into the sky, the earth, the green ones, the singing ones, the paths in our beautiful gardens. Everything holding you in this chair right now. In our world, there is both fear and courage. I now focus on the courage of the world and feel the courage of the world arise and arise in me, filling every part of me. Breathing in the courage of the world and our community. Breathing out courage, soaking into every part of me. In our world, there is both intentional distraction and shared clarity and wisdom. I now focus on the wise clarity of our human and beyond human world. And let the clarity of the world arise and arise in me, infusing every part of me. Breathing in clarity, breathing out clarity, illuminating every part of me. In our world right now, in this room right now, there is both loneliness and felt connection. I now focus on the interbeing of our world and with each other. And let the connection and interbeing of the world arise in our awareness and arise in me, filling every part of me. Breathing in connection, breathing out interbeing with all around me. Breathing in and out, letting in the support and care around me. And now letting the energy of courage and clarity and loving connection be shared with the people right around you. Breathing in for you and for everyone here. Breathing out, awakening to our connection. Breathing in support, and breathing out, offering love. May we all, sitting in these chairs, in this sanctuary, awaken to our connection.
From this place of breath and heart connection, we enter now into ritual to bring what is alive in our hearts and lay it on the altar of community and spirit. So tend to what is on your heart, your mind, whatever grief or growth or gratitude is alive within you. Online, you're invited to share what that is in the chat, and here in the sanctuary, you're invited forward to light a candle at one of our altar tables. There is a basket of electric candles in the back if you prefer to use those. And if you'd like an usher to bring a candle to you, please simply raise your hand. May we now share in this ritual of community care as we witness to one another's hearts. all that we hold in our hearts for ourselves, for each other, and for the world is held now in this community and by the larger unfolding mystery of love that holds us all, always. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
All that our church is and all that our church does is made possible by the time, talent, and treasure that we give to our shared mission. Members and friends support this congregation financially through recurring giving, and on Sundays we also give through our shared collection. As part of the spiritual practice of generosity, 50 cents of every dollar given now to our offering will go to Rochester Hope, a grassroots organization that brings services and caring hands to the heart of the city of Rochester by connecting people in need with existing services. They are located on the campus of St. Michael's Church, where they operate a food pantry on Saturdays and provide wraparound services for their clients and neighbors. Using Church Center is the easiest way to give, but if you aren't set up with the app yet, you can also give by texting GIVE, G-I-V-E, and the amount you would like to give to the number on the screen or in the offering baskets that will now be passed. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, the offering will now be given and humbly received.
Our reading this morning is from the French philosopher Simone Weil, with minor adaptations to update gendered language. In the first legend of the Grail, it is said that the Grail, the miraculous vessel that satisfies all hunger by virtue of the consecrated host, belongs to the first comer who asks the guardian of the vessel, a king 3/4 paralyzed by the most painful wound, "What are you going through?" The love of our neighbor in all its fullness simply means being able to say to them, "What are you going through?" It is a recognition that the sufferer exists not only as a unit in a collection or a specimen in the social category labeled unfortunate, but as a person, exactly like us, who was one day stamped with a special mark by affliction. For this reason, it is enough, but it is indispensable to know how to look at them in a certain way. This way of looking is first of all attentive. The soul empties itself of all its own contents in order to receive into itself the being it is looking at, just as they are, in all their truth. Only one who is capable of attention can do this. So who is capable of attention? Is it only those who are ordained, those set apart as ministers or commissioned as chaplains? Well, no. In Unitarian Universalism, our faith tradition has long held that the answer to this question is no. Everyone is capable of offering the grace of caring attention. From the Protestant Reformation's insistence on the priesthood of all believers, to the transcendentalist exhortation to acquaint thyself firsthand with deity, to the 20th century Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams, who coined the term radical laicism. The progressive faith tradition that we are a part of expresses again and again the responsibility of all people for matters of the spiritual life and matters of religious community. Adams added to that existing concept of the priesthood of all believers the idea of the prophethood of all believers. Reverend George Kimmich Beach, the president of the James Luther Adams Society, writes that both terms signify personal vocations, that is, personally felt callings which authentically serve common needs. Just as Luther asserted that all faithful persons are priests to one another, Adams asserts that all faithful persons are responsible for prophetic witness to and from their communities. To this, I want to add, or really it's just an emphasis, that there is a third role, or that part of that priestly role is the pastoral role, as in pastoral care. And that, of course, comes to us also from the shepherd tending their flock and that metaphor down the ages in Western civilization. And the idea that all of us are invited and encouraged to play this role for others. All faithful persons are responsible for pastoral care to one another. So we sometimes use this phrase a lot, but what is pastoral care? At its simplest, pastoral care is the ministry of listening and spiritual companioning. To offer pastoral care to someone is to be fully present and to listen deeply to what the other person is experiencing. It is to ask someone, "What are you going through?" And sometimes it is to reflect back what you hear and how it affects your own heart. But at its simplest, it is listening. And this all may sound simple, and I'm saying that it's simple, but there's a real alchemy that takes place when we are truly present with one another. When we take the time to be settled and centered in our own spirit and offer our presence to another person, that other person can experience some of that and then share deeply from the truth of their own experience. Now, I say alchemy to be a little bit mystical about it because there's that, but there is also some very fascinating science that describes what is going on between two people and how one person's nervous system can affect and influence another's, right? We know that somebody else who's really riled up and has a fast heart rate and that kind of thing, that can get us riled up. But the same thing can happen in reverse. Someone who is in a more calm and centered space can help somebody have their nervous system slow and settle into a place of felt safety. And it doesn't take a lot to have a huge impact. Science shows that even 8 or 10 minutes of being with somebody, or even 8 or 10 minutes of being on the phone with someone listening to them, is enough to let them share what is on their heart, to feel seen, and to find a place of regulation and felt safety. One of our lay pastoral care associates, in fact, Mary, who is serving in the role this morning, was telling me about another Sunday a few weeks ago when she was on duty, and she was approached by someone after the service who was visibly upset and distressed. Their nervous system was probably in a more activated kind of space, and it turns out that he had experienced a loss recently. And so after talking to Mary, his affect and his demeanor settled down and slowed down, and she reflected back to him her observation that you really must have needed somebody to talk to this morning about this. And he replied, I think that's right. I think I just needed somebody to talk to. I needed to tell somebody. Of course, what we call pastoral care here doesn't only happen in designated meetings labeled pastoral care, whether that's with a pastoral care associate or making an appointment with one of the ministers. No, this happens anytime this caring presence and attention is offered. It happens anytime somebody listens, reflecting back what they are hearing, not offering their own agenda or judgments. The Quaker educator Parker Palmer offers us the mantra, no fixing, no saving, no advising, no setting each other straight. At the first service, a couple of people started saying that along with me because many are familiar in this church. If you are part of our Soul Matters groups, you might be very familiar with this phrase because Parker Palmer's approach really informs, his approach to small circles of trust really informs how we do small group ministry here. Our small group ministry, Soul Matters, is all about the gift of deep listening. And I don't mean gift as in a skill that some people have and don't, and others don't. I mean gift as in it's a gift that anyone can give to anyone else. And Soul Matters is a place where everyone, each of you, are invited to practice the kind of listening and presence and witness that is the giving of this gift. In many ways, the biggest hurdle for folks is just being able to tolerate silence and not necessarily knowing or having something to say in response, but still being present and listening to someone. But even without being in a group dedicated to this noble effort, you can practice pastoral care every day with whoever is around you. You can practice it every Sunday as you greet people, old friends and the new ones you are making, as you connect in small groups between the services, as you come forth for the ritual of community care. I want to give a shout out of gratitude here to Paul Swain, who designed and built the altar tables that we use now almost every single Sunday. When we were in the design phase, we were considering different versions of how the tables might be set up and the candles that would be used with them. And we landed on the design that we have of using taper candles to light tea lights. And the reason we did this is because it requires the tapers to be passed from one person to the next down the line. And so this moment of exchanging taper candles is fleetingly brief, and you may not think much of it, but it can be emotionally powerful. It's an important reflection of our theology of mutual care, of that radical laicism, because as much as a minister or somebody else may lead a prayer or meditation and shape the worship service, I really mean it, that thing that I say at the beginning of every service, that it takes all of you coming together to make the church community and to make worship. And that ritual of community care where you are passing the candle to someone is an embodiment of that radical laicism. This ritual is a chance to embody the fact that we are each a part of the great unfolding ministry called love. Because the whole point of pastoral care, of that prayer or meditation, of this ritual, is to offer witness and solidarity, to offer attention and our presence. You don't need to know what someone is lighting a candle for in order for you to offer them the warmth of your presence, handing them the tool that taper candle that they will use to honor the sacred contours of their life by lighting a candle. So when you have the capacity, that is, when your own needs are met well enough, that your nervous system is settled, your spirit is centered, and you're able to provide that attentive presence to others, I encourage you to do so. Give someone that you're thinking of that 8-minute phone call to check in. Linger a little bit in the hallways at church after an event, and take the time to really ask, what are you going through? Rather than perhaps the more routine, how are you doing? And these are not just nice things to do that I'm suggesting, although they may be that, but they are really important ways to live out our shared values and theology as Unitarian Universalists, to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person that we meet, to make more space in our world for love to come to life in our living. Now, of course, when your own needs aren't being met, when you are suffering or overwhelmed, you may not, of course, be able to offer this gift directly at that time. But you can still offer others the opportunity to pastor to you. And this is part of that mutuality. It's a pretty good deal being the care receiver, of course, but it is no less a part of leaning into the mutual solidarity of community care. So please, as your pastor, I implore you, reach out to somebody when you need to. Reach out to the church, to us. And if you aren't sure who to reach out to the pastoral care line or to me and let us know what is going on. It's a big congregation we have. I only know what people tell me. And our pastoral care associates can only reach out to you if we hear from you or if we hear from somebody else the suggestion that we check in. And as someone who, perhaps like many of you, is trying to limit the time I spend on social media, I want to note that there is no longer a single public square of social media, if there ever was one. And those spaces for online communication, they are designed for the algorithm to serve the needs of that website and that corporation, not the needs of our mutual connection and community. So all to say that if you do share a personal update publicly on any given website, that is not a guarantee that your minister or your church community necessarily sees it and is able to reach out in response. So please, reach out and let others know what is going on in your life and inquire with others. Ask not just how they are doing, but what is going on for them, what they are experiencing. And as encouragement, I want to end with 2 verses from Scripture that encapsulate what we are talking about today, and which emphasize that it's not just about the hard and heavy stuff, but about the joyful stuff too. Because ultimately, this practice of pastoral care is not just about comforting the afflicted, but it's about being present to one another and seeing others' lives as a vice versa. It's about that solidarity. So the Apostle Paul, describing the marks of a true Christian in Romans 12:15, says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep." Echoing the same sentiment across time and space, Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, announces in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 32, "Who burns with the bliss and suffers with the sorrow of every creature within his own heart, making his own each bliss and each sorrow, him I hold highest of all the yogis." When we suffer with each other, when we celebrate with each other, when we reach for each other with our hearts and offer that caring and attentive presence, we are part of building beloved community, community of solidarity, and we find ourselves on holy ground. And in the spirit of that solidarity and mutual care, I invite you to rise in voice, body, and spirit for our closing hymn, On Holy Ground.
If you're familiar with this one, join in. If not, I'm going to sing the refrain through one time so we can learn it together, and then we'll try it. We're on holy ground, right where we are. We're on holy ground, under these shining stars.
ground. When we reach for each other with our hearts, we're on holy ground.
Let's try it. And
We're on holy ground, right where we are. We're on holy ground, under these shining stars. We're on holy ground. When we reach for each other with our hearts, we're on holy ground. If life is a journey between birth and death, then every step we take matters with every breath. And each path we follow leads us somewhere or to someone to talk beside. We're on holy ground, right where we are. We're on holy ground, under these shining stars. We're on holy ground. When we reach for each other with our hearts, we're on holy ground. If the
too many verses. I'm so sorry. Take two.
If we are all pilgrims between here and there, then everyone we meet matters in every share. And no one's a stranger, just a sibling or a cousin we didn't know. We are holy ground, right where we are. We're on holy ground, under these shining stars. We are on holy ground. When we reach for each other with our hearts, we're on holy ground.
One more chorus.
And we're on holy ground, right where we are. We're on holy ground, under these shining stars. We're on holy ground. When we reach for each other with our hearts, we're on holy ground.
For those willing and able, please help us stack the chairs that were so lovingly placed for you this morning. You can stack them in stacks of up to 5 with arms and those without arms and push them to the back of the sanctuary. We appreciate that many hands make light work. And please join us in unison words to extinguish our chalice as Grant extinguishes the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May you go forth held by the love of this community and by the unfolding mystery of love, ready to offer witness and solidarity, attention and presence to all who you meet. I love you. Now go and love the world. Amen. Go in peace.